Hi everyone again.
Hey everyone.
Hope you've been doing okay. And I think this is now week. What is it?
I think it's like week 10?
Week 10.
I don't know.
So we're on John chapter 7.
John chapter 7, that's it. Yeah, John chapter 7, verse 1 all the way down to around about verse 24. So we're just going to do the first section of that. We'll show you one of those Jesus clips, and then we'll go and do the talk. It's going to be a bit of a shorter talk, but yeah, hopefully it's explained well. Enjoy the video.
After this, Jesus traveled in Galilee. He did not want to travel in Judea because the Jewish authorities there were wanting to kill him. The time for the festival of shelters was near, so Jesus' brothers said to him, "Leave this place and go to Judea, so that your followers will see the things that you're doing."
People don't hide what they're doing if they want to be well known. Since you are doing these things, let the whole world know about you.
Not even his brothers believed in him.
The right time for me has not yet come. Any time is right for you. The world cannot hate you, but it hates me, because I keep telling it that its ways are bad. You go on to the festival. I am not going to this festival, because the right time has not come for me.
He said this, and then stayed on in Galilee. After his brothers had gone to the festival, Jesus also went. However, he did not go openly, but secretly. The Jewish authorities were looking for him at the festival. "Where is he?" they asked. There was much whispering about him in the crowd. "He is a good man," some people said. "No," others said, "he fools the people." But no one talked about him openly, because they were afraid of the Jewish authorities. The festival was nearly half over when Jesus went to the temple and began teaching. The Jewish authorities were greatly surprised.
How does this man know so much when he has never been to school?
What I teach is not my own teaching, but it comes from God who sent me. Whoever is willing to do what God wants will know whether what I teach comes from God, or whether I speak on my own authority. Those who speak on their own authority are trying to gain glory for themselves. But he who wants glory for the one who sent him is honest, and there is nothing false in him. Moses gave you the law, didn't he? But not one of you obeys the law. Why are you trying to kill me?
You have a demon in you. Who is trying to kill you?
I performed one miracle, and you were all surprised. Moses ordered you to circumcise your sons, although it was not Moses, but your ancestors who started it. And so you circumcise a boy on the Sabbath. If a boy is circumcised on the Sabbath so that Moses' law is not broken, why are you angry with me? Because I made a man completely well on the Sabbath. Stop judging by external standards and judge by true standards.
Yeah, so that was the short excerpt from John 7. It's just the start of it. I hope you enjoyed it. And Beth is now just going to overview what happened to what we just saw.
So Jesus and his brothers went to a festival. His brothers didn't believe his miracles. And then Jesus went to the synagogue to teach. So that's just the summary in short few sentences. Yeah,
the next bit is far more impactful as to what Jesus says, but this is still, there's lots to draw from it. We'll go from verse 1 to 5. So that starts at after this Jesus went about in Galilee. He would not go about in Judea because the Jews were seeking to kill him. So basically the festival that he was attending was, when the Israelites were in the wilderness. Then they kind of remember that by camping out for a week, which is quite cool. So they basically camp out with their families for a whole week. But his brothers essentially don't believe him at all at this point, his actual birth brothers. They essentially say, you can't be that great if you're hiding. If you're so special, then go to the big city and you'll be famous, that kind of thing. So they basically say, leave here and go to Judea, that your disciples also may see the works you're doing. So they're basically just go away and do what you think you're doing elsewhere. So they didn't really believe him. This kind of is talk as well is a lot from what we hear from atheists. It's if he's so special and can do miracles, why can't he do them now? I always hear that anyway. And there were bigger miracles in the Old Testament, but he does still answer prayers now. He does still do miracles now. He saves people from terrible lives and saves them into salvation with God. That's a bigger miracle than walking on water, in my opinion. It's the biggest miracle is salvation, and that's what Jesus gives every day by the hundreds to everyone who asks all around the world. So yes, miracles do happen today, and you can just look it up, and people get saved every day, and there's amazing testimonies. But the miracles stood out more in that time because they needed to have faith that he was truly the Messiah. So he performed more like crazy miracles, like walking on water and that kind of thing, turning water to wine, more like visually wow kind of miracles, the undeniable miracles. So that's why he did it then, because they needed to know that Jesus was really the Messiah. And now we can look back and just believe the miracles and see everyone happening today.
Yeah, and then from verse 6 to 9, these few verses are basically all about God's timing.
Yeah.
So we know that Jesus knew the Father's will and his timing.
Mm.
And a lot of Christians think God has revealed to them his will, but they get the timing wrong, which is frustrating.
Yeah.
God can tell you to go somewhere, marry someone, take a job.
Yep.
So much so that you're convinced that you should, as it's his will. But remember, God has timing too.
Yeah.
So always pray into his timing rather than rushing things
Yeah.
or going on sort of out on a whim. Just kind of, you should pray and always take these things to God.
Yeah, and God will always give the perfect timing, but sometimes it's difficult not to rush into things when we think it is of God. So like in a relationship or whatever it may be, a lot of people do rush it and say, this is of God, so I'm going to marry that person or whatever. But God's timing is so important. And this is where we can see Jesus says, my time has not yet come. So he knows he's going to go, but it's not the right time yet.
Mm.
So, yeah, that was interesting. 10 to 13, verses 10 to 13, is it's obviously physical, but it's also spiritual. So Jesus divided the people into those who denied him and those who trusted him.
Mm.
So verse 10, verse 11, the Jews were looking at the feast and saying, where is he? And there was too much mustering about him, while people said, he is a good man. And some said, no, he's leading people astray. So there were two camps. There were some people that said, yes, he's a good man. And some people that said, no, he's leading people astray. And again, that's so much true for us. There are two camps you can be in. You can either deny Christ or trust Christ. And there are two destinations and there are two paths in life where you can either just say no or say yes. There isn't a middle ground. There's no foot in both camps. There's no... I always had it described as like a boat. If you have one foot in one boat and one foot in the other, you're just going to drift apart and, fall off, basically. You have to get on one side. And that's what the people were saying here. You either trust him or you deny him.
And then moving on to 14 to 18, basically the Jews were looking to kill him. And after hearing him speak, it says they are marvelled.
Mm.
So if they were talking today, they probably would have said, oh, he's never been to Bible college or got a degree in theology. But his doctrine is perfect. And we know that Jesus knew the scriptures inside and out. And even the Jews did, as they recognised he was a gifted teacher.
Yeah.
So they knew the scriptures inside out as well, the Jews, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
And they still recognised that he was something else.
So even though they hated him, they were like, his doctrine's pretty sound, actually. So that's a really odd dichotomy there, isn't it? Like, the Jews hated him, wanted to kill him, thought he was terrible, but still, they were like, what he's saying is pretty much right. 19 to 24, so we go on again. So the people now gathered with Jesus listening didn't know Jews were trying to kill him. But we do know that from John 5:16. Do you remember the Jews said in the Bible, and the Jews then plotted to kill Jesus. So Jesus knew this, but the people didn't know that. So they thought he was possessed, basically, for thinking that the Jews were going to kill him, which is, odd. He basically says here, you Jews are wrong. Don't strictly obey the law so much so that you lose sight of the love towards people. So he healed someone on the Sabbath. They're like, well, you can't do it because it's a Sabbath. But he healed, regardless of it, he healed someone. And that is loving. It's interesting last words here as well. Don't judge with appearances, but judge with right judgment. And I was thinking about that. He's basically saying he's not saying don't judge. And a lot of Christians and a lot of people say, we shouldn't judge. But really, Jesus says, judge correctly and don't assume straight away. So he doesn't tell us not to judge. He just tells us not to assume straight away. Sorry, the cat's going in the picture. Yeah, so that's a lesson we can all learn. We can't just say, oh, you can't say that about that person because it's judging. If it's correct theologically, then we can say that. So, like, if we assume someone has done something wrong or is doing something ungodly and is a Christian, we must first fully confirm the case, pray about them, and then we can make our righteous judgment and say, actually, that is wrong, what you're doing. And there isn't really a Bible verse that says just don't judge and leave it up to God. We should judge, but judge righteously and judge correctly. That's what Jesus does, and that's what he says here. So that last verse. It's much like the people of this world when they say, you can't judge, you're a Christian. Actually we can. We are called to do it. Obviously very cautiously and in love, but we are called to judge righteously. Yeah.
I think, and then we're on to the summary. Oh, I shouldn't move that. So basically, miracles we know are still done every day. So don't think that God doesn't do them anymore.
Yeah.
He does.
Yeah.
Remember, God has timing as well as his will. So we shouldn't, if we're praying about something, we should wait for his timing and not act on our own sort of when we want it and be impatient. Because obviously everything's instant these days. So we sort of expect things to be just there and then and right there. But actually, God may be wanting us to wait for something.
Yeah.
And Jesus divides people into two camps. So the denied or trusted. And also we should judge, as Joel said at the end, but judge carefully and righteously.
Yeah, so those are like really, really good points and really quite strong points, but they are in this kind of verse where you kind of just skim over it and read over it, and it's almost like just the history of what Jesus is doing, but really he's saying some really interesting points here, especially about judging righteously. That's very difficult to do, but it's called on us as Christians to do. So yeah, that's really interesting.
Well, we hope that you enjoyed it, and as I say, it was a bit shorter this week, but sort of vary them, I think. Sometimes they're longer, sometimes they're shorter, but next week we'll go on to verse 25, and we'll be talking about can this be the Christ?
It's a good one.
Yeah, so we hope you have a good week, and we look forward to seeing and speaking with you soon.
We also hope you enjoyed the youth group as well, because we really loved it. It was really good. So yeah, we'll see you next week, guys.
Bye.